Que lo que mi gente, go ahead and join me as I travel to the northeast side of Japan. And on the way there, I actually visit a friend who's a pretty good chef. I'm here with Victor.
What's up?
And today we'll be cooking you
Kokoro's
curry rice from the Sanji cookbook and Absalom's croquettes. Now, we have the master chef here and the amateur chef. I'm the plan for protein meals, gym head, rice, chicken, basic things, and then the occasional follow the instructions and cook. He's the guy who cooks a lot more than me, so he's gonna be leading the way. I'll be following. For all y'all get ready. It's gonna be a fun time. What you about to take over?
I'm gonna look here, but probably we're gonna do some onions.
Some onions.
Yeah.
But my teacher used to always say, keep it simple, stupid. And the reason why is because if you keep it simple and stupid, you can't really mess up. Luckily, we got this guy right here. He knows a lot.
And while that water is heating, and then as soon as those are peeled, I'll chop those. And we'll get them so they can soften. And the recipe says steam and then peel the potatoes, but that process takes like 40 minutes. We're gonna boil that down to about 15 or 20 this way. Because it's getting late.
It is getting late.
I'm hungry. You've been traveling all day.
But what had happened is that I was supposed to get here in 3.5 hours. I was in Kyoto. I went shopping right before the train. I got some nice anime clothes. Any of my anime lovers, go ahead and comment down below. And I picked the next train out, easiest availability. Just so you know, if you ever want to take a bullet train, you could actually pick the cheaper option. You don't get to select your seats beforehand, but the cheaper option, usually you get to pick the train that leaves next. So it's a lot quicker to get out of there. And on top of that too, most of the seats probably won't be taken. So you could still pick the side that has Mount Fuji. And then if you're going from Tokyo to Kyoto, make sure you're on the right side of the train. If you're going from Kyoto to Tokyo, make sure you're on the left side of the train to see Mount Fuji.
We never reserve our seats. We always take the open seats.
You see? See? Pro tip right there. Yeah, pretty much that whole trek, it still took, the 2 hours it usually takes from Kyoto. But the moment I got off, man, another 2 hours or 3 hours really. So usually what I do to cut onions is I cut at the roots.
No.
I cut at the roots, peel, cut it in half. I start my dice from the top in by parallel lines, turn it to the side, finish it parallel lines. That's how I dice.
Nope.
He's quick though, he's quick.
We want this to cook quick, so we're cutting small, and it'll make our smashing it down into a paste a lot easier.
Now when we get to the meat, you gotta let me know if there's any special ingredients here.
So actually I did get a higher grade meat. So it's got a nice marbling of fat in there. So this is like if you were to get hamburger, right? You have little white or pink and white specks, but this meat comes pre-speckled, so to speak. So that's gonna give us a lot more rich flavor than if you were to pick like a bright red meat.
You any shot glasses?
I got shot glasses, lots of them.
Where are they?
Now, are you doing sake or alcohol shots? That was prepped for the croquette potatoes. We are gonna do the curry potato here, which is a different cut. So this is a larger cut because we want good bites.
I'm gonna give him this shot, okay? And then I will be taking the Mount Fuji one. And look at that. Beautiful lady up front, Mount Fuji in the back. I can't get any better than that. Now the reason why I'm wasting time pouring up shots, because he's in the zone right now.
Pinch this part off because it just gets dirty. Throw it out, you don't need it. That's where the top is, that's the roots. Cut the top off like that and pull so that it tears down the side. Flip it flat, it's not gonna rotate. Go straight in half, down. If you wanna make it extra easy, nick the center of the skin right there. Just nick it. Little tiny cut like that, right? And this will peel off. That root holds the whole thing together. So when you go to cut it any other way, it all stays together. Makes it nice and clear.
All right, guys.
All right, kanpai.
Celebratory kanpai.
Kanpai. American style shot.
All right, so the first part of the croquette one was to steam potatoes in a steam cooker for about 40 minutes until they're soft. Cut beef into 3/4 inch strips and minced onions.
Okay.
So he minced the onions already.
I'm gonna wash my hands about 200,000 times during this.
And when you're touching multiple food items, it's what you do.
Okay, so for curry, we want a bigger cut of onion.
This is your sliced up meat. There you go.
Pro tip, if you want to be able to cut a little bit faster, run a very thin slice right down the edge of the carrot, right? Thin slice. We don't need that skin. Now it'll sit flat and not rotate.
I will
2
admit
cloves.
this, in America, I don't mince the garlic myself. I just buy the pre-minced garlic.
Jarlic.
The jarlic. Yes, I do jarlic. I know how to cook. Why? Because it's just following instructions. He told me an instruction, I'm following it. I will say about a year ago, I was actually really, really good at cooking. I used to meal prep, but I hated eating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, Eric didn't like it either.
So I ended up like meal prepping like a lot of Dominican foods, but I just replaced certain of the ingredients in order to just make it super high protein and lessen the carbs. My favorite thing to make is sancocho. I know how to make tres golpes. Obviously arroz con gandules y pollo. But that's generic. That's pretty much rice, beans, and chicken. He said this is somebody else's recipe, so you know what? If it's bad, it's not him. But you know it's gonna be good because it's Sanji's recipe. And for your information, Sanji is the best cook in the sea. Okay? Victor, you want to tell them how we met?
It was in an airplane. You were sitting next to me, weren't you? Or I was sitting next to you, or however that goes.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
Where was that?
Atlanta?
It
was
was
Atlanta.
Yeah, it was Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to Tokyo.
I remember when I first met him, he kind of just gave me like recommendations off rip and told me if I ever needed any help to help me, and he kept his word.
I don't say things I don't mean.
That is very rare, especially when you're from Miami. So the first time we actually went to Takao,
Which is a mountain.
yes, it's a mountain.
And kind of tried to hike, but it was too much, and we had
And we had a time limit, yeah.
So we had to go.
But we saw some good monkeys.
Yeah, we did see the monkeys. That's the first time I ever went to the monkeys.
But the second time we met up, we went to Tokyo Tower. I got some ice cream. He went with a friend of mine, and we got some nice pictures.
So this is weird about Japanese tomatoes. They always look like pink to me, and these look pink to me always.
They look red to me.
Really?
Yeah, they look red.
Okay.
So where have you previously lived?
So I'm originally from Alaska.
He's an American, but how American?
Reporting on the snow. I mean, it's in the streets. God damn.
And then I moved to Japan the first time in 2001 as an exchange student, and I lived way up north in what you would call a state. We call it a prefecture of Iwate, in this tiny little village, 3,000 people, spread over a really long distance in a tiny little valley. Very old school, very traditional. And then moved to Florida, Panama City Beach.
Ooh, hurricane parties. Can we talk about how that's a lost art?
Well, that's too bad because basically there's nothing you can do and nowhere to go. So why wouldn't you just go find somebody's house that has a good pool and buy
A pool during a hurricane?
Absolutely.
What?
Yes.
Because it's a hurricane.
Well, you're not.
I thought the party was inside. That's how we did it.
It moves inside. It starts in the pool.
It starts in the pool.
Just stab one. If it goes crunch, it's wrong. If it goes right through and sort of cracks, that's nice and soft.
I'm trying to stab one. Yeah, they're not going crunch. Yeah, they're soft.
Okay.
And then bouillon. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know about you guys watching, but as I see the food, I am starving. This 6-hour train ride completely drained me. I'm ready to eat. So he's right. You know, the faster we get this done, the better.
I've got potatoes in cool water, just cooling down, because they're gonna have to be mashed.
That's crisp. All right. Yeah, 3 tablespoons of curry powder, 2 bay leaves, 1.5 tablespoons of salt,
1.5 tablespoons of salt.
teaspoons of salt, half a tablespoon of honey,
Got that.
3 tablespoons of flour,
Okay.
half a tablespoon of garam masala, and then Chinese onion. A leaf squishing.
Just you can use Wesson or canola or olive or any of that.
What's one thing about Alaska that like sticks in your head? Like the most memorable thing about Alaska?
I tell you, my favorite part about Alaska is the summers, the long light. Like it's not, the day is the same length, so this bothers me. Day is the same length, but you have more sunlight in that 24-hour period. So where I'm at is about, it maxes out around 20, 21 hours of sunlight. In the winter is the reverse of that. The sun doesn't come up till like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's dark by 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
So you leave the house in the dark, you come home at
In the
dark,
dark.
and that's what gets people the most.
But I cannot see, I'm legally blind.
That was a nice noise.
Yeah.
So he just put the chicken in. Okay.
We're gonna do the beef. So this is for the curry, and this is gonna be for the croquettes.
So what's the most memorable thing about Florida?
The beach. We lived in Panama City Beach, and I do not mean Panama City. 27 miles of sugar soft white sand, and I would go walk on that beach for miles. That beautiful blue-green water. So sorry, Miami, y'all can keep that beach.
What's the most memorable thing about Japan?
I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff here. The convenience stores and the train system, the cleanliness, and probably the biggest, no crime.
Oh yeah.
Like, you might lose a bicycle in some neighborhoods, but that's it.
Listen, no, it is huge, and that's one of the things that like really, that like Japan has for me that makes me feel comfortable, is the fact that there's no crime. I do stuff a lot more freely here. Stress-free knowing that you're fine.
The greater Tokyo area has like 40 million people. So you say, oh, well, you can do that in the countryside. Well, no, you can do it in the most populous city in the world.
So in this pot he has the chicken, potatoes, carrots, and in this pot he has the onions and the beef. I think pepper on beef is always gonna bring a lot of that flavor out, that beefy flavor out, especially with the oils mixed in. You're gonna really taste that hearty beef. And you would love that in a croquette, because a lot of the croquettes you find here at the markets, they don't have a lot of that hearty beef flavor. It's mostly just potato flavor.
Mostly potato, a couple little tiny bits.
Exactly. So we're gonna have a lot more meat in here.
Yeah.
This. Damn. You can smell the flavor.
Sorry, while you're doing that, I'm gonna add our garlic and ginger and our tomatoes. After Florida, I lived in Italy
Oh.
for about 4 years. Then we moved back to Japan, and this is our garam masala and salt that went from before. Powder stirred up.
Smelling a lot of great flavors.
There's one. There's two.
2 bay leaves. This curry is looking and smelling good, man. Listen, when you go the Sanji way, there is no other way.
That's good. Let that just simmer for a minute. Let all that flavors blend. And this
Yeah, dip into flour, beaten egg yolks, and panko.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Yeah, this is gonna be 10 pieces, but we'll just do as many as we can. Yeah.
There.
That looks good, man.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we'll do a assembly line.
Yep.
And that egg is what really is tough, because it kind of makes it a little bit softer. But that panko part, man, that's gonna be where all the flavor sits.
Now they don't call for it in the recipe, but I have tonkatsu sauce,
Okay.
which is what you would, if you buy it at the store, it comes
They
with
give
a
you
little,
with some tonkatsu sauce, and you could like put it on top and eat it with it. Oh my, that junk smells amazing. It smells amazing. It smells amazing.
good.
That's a little bit thin.
A little bit thin.
Okay.
So, see that nice sizzle?
That is delicious. That's the curry,
Nope. Oh, that is
and that is the croquette.
This is already cooked, so all we really need to do is
These are the other
this
ones.
is the that's a garnish.
The cabbage.
right there.
That looks delicious, brother. This is the curry. Look at the curry. It's looking amazing. All right, and this is our final result. So why don't you go ahead and explain the croquette? Go ahead.
So this, you have beef and onion flavored.
Show it to the camera.
With mashed potatoes that's been deep fried, almost like a beef latke. With this is a tonkatsu sauce and shredded cabbage.
Look at this curry. Oh my gosh, look at all that meat. Look at perfectly hearty curry. What's on top of this? What's the garnish?
This is pickled radish.
Pickled radish on top of the white rice.
Soy pickle.
And yeah, and then we're gonna actually celebrate this with a nice celebratory shot. Just want to say thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. It was a long trip. Great knowing you for this long. But we made some really good food. Sanji knows what he's talking about.
That's right.
Sanji knows what he's talking about. All right, I don't like mine too saucy. So you see, I barely put sauce on mine.
I like this stuff. We're gonna go.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for watching. Adios. Subscribe, like, comment, do everything. Peace.